and we'll call the December 17th Board of Directors meeting to order. I hope everyone had a chance to review the minutes.
I move the approval of the November 19, 2020 minutes, Dr. Glass.
Is there a second?
JP, I'll second it.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent. And then I'll get right to it with the director's report. First, happy holidays. You'll notice the festive red shirt will only come out once a year, maybe twice if it's a Friday. And a little bit of well, I don't have any green, but oh well. But happy holidays to all. I hope everyone has a nice, safe time with their family next week and enjoys some respite before the new year. So first, just to start off with director's expenses, I continue to refrain from all travel and business expenses. I did direct, as I alluded to, but I have a total for the price of 3 former board members thank you gifts for all 3 of them had over 20 years of service. And in addition, I approved the purchase of frames with some staff, with executive staff. And so the total from things I've directed was $457.89 on the last billing cycle. I don't know if Mr. Tosi, I'm assuming Mr. Tosi is here, but I'd like you all to please welcome Mr. Jeff Tosi as the Government Affairs Director for MES. He comes to MES from, are you there?
Good morning. I'm here, yep.
Oh, excellent. Mr. Tosi comes from the Maryland Department of Transportation, where he served as Director of Government Affairs for the past 4 years. He's held positions at the Department of Labor and the Home Builders Association of Maryland, all interacting with the General Assembly. He has a bachelor's degree from Towson State University and extensive experience with both MACO and MML, and participating in the Consolidated Transportation Program tour each year to all counties in the state of Maryland for the last 4 years. I'd like Mr. Tosi, if he has any words to say, just to introduce himself, to say hello, and please give him a warm welcome.
I'm not going to be very long. I'm just going to say I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to learning about the agency and helping with Dr. Glass's confirmation, of course, and anything else that he would like me to do.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Tosi. Another Carroll County resident, by the way, for those up in the northern regions. This past month, I had lots of meetings with stakeholders, but I want to bring up one particular item. Oh, there's my expense report, which is blank. So at the December 2nd Board of Public Works meetings, I was called on to explain the role of MES in the construction of the Chesapeake Utilities gas pipeline. The actual board item at that meeting related to the pipeline was for an evaluation of the wetlands, of an impact to the wetlands that it would cross under. MES does not have a role in the construction of the pipeline, but has committed through our client, the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, to buy fuel for the pipeline. And so the Chesapeake Utilities is using that contract to buy the fuel as a justification for building the pipeline. And that is in concert with the University of Maryland Eastern Shore making a similar commitment. The comptroller has stated that he does not understand why environmental appears in the name of the Maryland Environmental Services. I stated that a report had been prepared, but I mistakenly remembered a report related to the Maryland Correctional Institute in Hagerstown, where MES was asked to evaluate various sources of energy. We provided this report to his staff, and I asked for a meeting with the comptroller to be able to discuss all of MES's activities and to explain why environmental is a part of our charge. In that discussion was very productive. It was very similar to the request that had been made to discuss the issues with the treasurer. On a side note, the treasurer has seen me participate in the Climate Change Commission committees the Scientific Technical Working Group, and the Adaptation Response Working Group in both my roles at MDOT and at DNR. The conversation with the comptroller on December 14th went well, and I explained that MES works on a project-by-project basis with clients, most of whom are the state and local government, but we do have other roles. We do not have a role in setting environmental policy for the state. He stressed the need for MES to address issues of climate change and resiliency. He was not concerned with our project-based funding from state and local clients. In response, I plan to continue to personally explore with the executive team and others that are funded through overhead, where possible, to focus on the resiliency goals of the state. Although MES only has the solar task force, which I described from MEA for the Maryland Energy Administration at the last board meeting, there are several other ongoing projects and potential projects that could address issues of climate change and resiliency. I'm just assuming that in the past, MES did not explain to stakeholders that were not the client the long-term climate benefits of some of our activities. Composting of food waste is a sustainable process and is done annually in Prince George's County through Leaf Grow Gold. Conversion of methane from landfills like Midshore 1, it produces renewable energy credits. As you flare or provide methane for something else that converts it to carbon dioxide, it is 28 times less of a carbon dioxide pollutant than methane. We have units that participate in living shorelines and coastal wetlands projects, which are now newly in the last year being considered blue carbon projects that will hopefully generate carbon credits in the future. Blue carbon is the carbon stored in coastal and marine ecosystems. And of course, one of my favorites that I've described to you in the past is biochar production from municipal solid waste, biosolids, manures, or food waste. There are now capabilities to get those credits certified and produce cash flow. This requires that the process be audited from the generation of the waste to the process to the supply of the product in an eco-friendly manner. So, in the end, the challenge put forth by the governor to meet 40% carbon dioxide reduction from 2006 by 2030 is a challenge that MES is uniquely prepared to meet, and I plan to expand this effort, especially after we figure out the economics of carbon sequestration and participating in carbon credit markets that are similar to the renewable energy credits. I will continue to push forward with the solar siting effort. I've had meetings with 4 department secretaries, an introductory meeting with Ms. Kathleen Magruder of the Maryland Clean Energy Center that we participate and engage with already. MES has not been given the go-ahead to begin development of the geospatial application that I briefed you on last month, but I have introduced the concept to the treasurer and the comptroller. So I wanted to talk about that in general and really lay out some of the efforts in that area. In all 3 operational units at MES, there are activities that we participate already that are addressing climate change and resiliency. There's just not been an accounting of what we're doing and how it benefits. Of course, we're doing these projects for clients, and one of the issues that's come up in the last month is we do not take credit for the marketing of projects for our clients that they are paying us to perform. It's akin to having a general contractor come fix your house and do a great job, and then telling them that you really can't market the fact that you did that work. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up to you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding those efforts. Right now, they are with the efforts of the work that we already do. So, on to Sudlersville. The December payment was received from the town of Sudlersville, and this week we were continuing to participate in finishing the agreement. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was an incredible conversation I had with Dr. Peter Goodwin, the president of the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Studies. think I got that right. UMCES. I just always called it UMCES. President Goodwin and I have been working together since he came to the state in 2017. He sits on the DMMP Executive Committee. He brought to my attention the opportunity to participate in a Sea Grant Fellows program where someone in between completing their doctorate or in a postdoctoral role seeks out government experience at the executive level in support of what the mission of the agency is. So the Maryland Department of Environment, UMCES, and MES are participating in that Sea Grant program together, and I hope to recruit a young, talented person, or not so young, a person finishing their higher education to help us look at some of these issues like blue carbon and resiliency with Dr. Goodwin. So, and with that, that ends my director's report. With one exception, I'd like to ask the board members to fill out our positions on our committees. I would like to recommend or make a motion for Ms. Heller to serve as the chair of the audit committee based on her many years of procurement, financial, and executive experience in county government. That's the only motion. The other seats, I've talked to you all about them, but I don't know who would like to serve on the audit committee. First, I'd like to see if anyone seconds the motion for Mrs. Heller to, or makes the motion for Ms. Heller to be the, and hopefully she will accept.
I'd like to move that Ms. Heller be the chair for the audit committee.
Okay.
Morgan Hall.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 I'll obviously abstain.
Thank you, Mrs. Heller. Ms. Heller. Mrs. Fuller, and what were were there two seats in the audit committee?
Yes, typically there's 3 members on each committee.
Okay. Just ask for volunteers, and there will be a need based on the number of people and my inability to serve in a role in the committees for at least one person to serve on both, if my math is accurate.
Dr. Charles, this is Morgan Hall. Hey, I think I'll serve on the audit committee already, but I'll definitely be a part of that committee too. But Miss
Okay. Can we have one more volunteer for the audit committee?
I'm willing to stay there if you're willing to have me.
Oh, we're willing to have you. So there we go. We have 3 on the audit committee. And what is the membership of the HR committee? Is it currently just the chair and Joe Snee?
Correct.
So I'm going to have to ask Mr. Smolkin, Judge Smolkin, will you volunteer to be on the HR committee?
Yes, sir. And I'm glad you didn't have me for audit because I cannot put together something like 37 and 18 and figure out how it works. So very happy to be able to do this.
Thank you. And so I just need one person to volunteer to also join the HR committee with Judge Smolkin and Mr. Snee.
Dr. Charles, this is Morgan Hall. You can also pick.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if we need any vote on the members. Mrs. Fuller, we don't.
Hi, this is Sean Coleman. Yes, Dr. Glass, you should have a motion and a second to appoint Judge Smolkin and Mr. Hall to serve on the HR committee, and a vote by the board to that effect.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Can I have a motion for Mr. Hall and Judge Smolkin to join the HR committee?
This is J.P. Smith. I move that we put Morgan Hall and Judge Smolkin on the Human Resource Committee.
And this is Shelley. I'll second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? Thank you so much. Moving on to the agency activity report.
Dr. Glass?
Yes.
Before you do that, I just wanted to let you know that Dr. Street did reach out to me after receiving whatever it was that he got from you, and he was very, very appreciative So I just wanted to pass that on to you and the members of the board.
Thank you. And I've received feedback from all three board members, Dr. Street, Ms. Leslie Jackson Jenkins, and Mr. Goodson, Billy. And they all were very receptive and thankful for the honor. So moving on to the agency activity report. Have you all had an opportunity to review the report, and are there any questions?
Dr. Glass, could somebody talk about the Colgate Creek dredging and innovative reuse?
Yes, I'm sure Ms. Banta would be happy to talk about that project.
Hi, Mr. Snee. Yes, the Colgate Creek project is one of the Energy Transfer Ports agreement projects that I spoke about last month. And this project is located between the Seagirt Seagirt Marine Terminal and the Dundalk Marine Terminal. That's the location of Colgate Creek. And it's a dredging project in that area near, I believe it's called the St. Helena property off of Browning Highway area. And at this point in time, the innovative reuse portion of the project has not yet been defined.
So the acceptance date was November 30, correct?
Yes.
All right. And how much dredge spoils will be received there?
Well, that will be dredging that will be done there, performed at that site. And, you know, I'm going to have to get back to you on that quantity. For some reason, I feel like it's 400,000 cubic yards, but I'll have to verify that.
Okay. And just for the port, we have to maintain those lanes at 50 feet or 55?
50 feet. And it depends on the, the Corps of Engineers is the one that is responsible for the federal channels, and they're at 50 feet.
Even with the big containers coming in through the Panama Canal now?
Yes, most of them are at that depth. And it's primarily the berths that we're dealing with, like Seagirt Berth 3, which I spoke about last month, that the intention is to bring that to 50 feet with a 1 foot over depth.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Yes, this is Morgan Hall. Last month, I noticed that the Brown Station landfill was actually 82 million. This year, this month you actually have it listed at 74 million. And I was wondering what was the change between last month and this month. Why did the cost drop from?
Sure, Mr. Tomczewski should be able to address that issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hall. What's happened is the county has, this is for a multi-year deal. We're operating off of, for this year, we're up around 21 million. So it's really a large project. The county scope of work for the multi-year deal has been reassessed. And unfortunately, now that project is kind of on hold because Joe Gill, who's the director for environmental protection for Prince George's County, is leaving at the end of this month. So things are kind of in a turmoil. So it's on hold right now. So,
okay.
So yes, the project value has changed. They changed their priorities around, but there's been a change in the management. So things are on hold. So,
okay.
It's been an evolving story. Good, but very good question. Thank you.
So the scope of it didn't really change. They just took out certain
right
items.
Right. It's still a question mark whether they can get a multi-year deal past their procurement system. So that's where it's kind of holding.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, if there are no more questions, we'll move on to the financial report. Mr. Patel.
Good morning. this time I have only 2 pages in the financial report. So this is kind of a little early meeting, so we didn't prepare the full package. So I'll just go over our budget versus actual. We had budgeted for this year the increase in net asset of 3.1 million. And based on the 5-month actual, we will achieve close to 4 million, which is 900,000 more than what we budgeted. As far as the billable labor is concerned, this year it will be always less than fiscal year 21 because of 1 less pay. However, there is a significant savings in overhead costs, mainly in the salaries, due to vacant positions for months now. So there's a big savings in overhead salaries, which will increase our expected increase in net assets by $900,000. So overall, we are in good financial position so far. Next one, please. If you don't have any questions on this one, we can move to the next one. Okay. As I mentioned in the last meeting, I'm concentrating on major accounts over 90 days. Unfortunately, I didn't get too much time into going into each one of them. Many of this is the approval of contracts, POs, as far as the government agencies are concerned. So I'm not too concerned about collecting those money. We just have to be a little persistent and provide them all the documentation they need so we can move forward and assist them. I think the best thing for this collection with the government agency is assist them as much as possible, understand their processes, and provide them what they need moving forward. I'll highlight a couple of them. As Dr. Glass mentioned, town of Sudlersville. On Tuesday, I had a conversation with Mr. Griffith. I think the conversation were very cordial. I explained him a little bit about the accounting of it, and I'm pretty sure he's very pleased with it. I did give him my number and say, anytime you have a question on billing, how your payments are applied, feel free to reach out to me and I'll explain whatever accounting is taking place in his account. So I think a couple of hours after that, we received an email from their accountant. They want to go over all the expenses, the billing, and the payments accounting since January 2019. So I told them that, in a couple of days, we will provide that. We are developing the report, and it will be very clear to him that how we are accounting for every expense and every payments that we receive from them. So I'm pretty sure that they are very happy at this point, and they will keep on paying $20,000. The other account I work on was the Harvester Resource LLC. It appears that a lot of loads are rejected. So we are incurring very heavy debit memos because I don't know all the reasons. I didn't get into all the reasons, but wet loads, contaminated loads. So that's why even though we bill them, there are offsetting debit memos. So we're going to talk to Harvester Resource accountant and our project people there, probably at MES, to resolve these issues, why it is constantly occurring, where we have so many debit memos that offset the invoices. I think Wise Recycling is going to be scheduled for hearing. Sean can say more on that, but we provided the accounting, again, the latest accounting for Wise Recycling account. The one other thing I want to mention is DC Department of General Services. I think legal started working on it. I don't know the detail of what the holdup was. Maybe it's a purchase order. They offered us that they can pay $300 some dollars, $350 every month. So I'm looking into it. But that is not a fixed amount like settlers will. They say you bill us the actual and then determine how much more we can pay on that. So it's very complicated accounting, but I'll work something out with them. So, okay. And that's all I have for over 90 days.
Dr. Glass, if I can respond back to Mr. Sneed's question, actually, the quantity for dredging at Colgate Creek would be 300,000 cubic yards.
Thank you, Ms. Bantha.
Are there any questions for Mr. Patel?
Mr. Patel, what is the status of Ritchie land reclamation?
So we haven't received any payment, and my staff was following up with the project manager, and I plan to talk to him about that before this meeting. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to talk to him, but that is my next target. But I'll go through with every single one of them, find out exactly what is the problem. You know, is it for the understanding of the billing, whether it is the purchase order or some procedures that is holding up there. So I'll follow up then on the Ritchie land reclamation.
All right, and then State Highway Administration's getting up there too. Is there an update on that one?
No, I don't have any update on that. I've been so busy. I want to follow up with the project managers, and project managers are informed about this. As a matter of fact, you know, my staff told me to get directly involved in it. So I will, and unfortunately, I didn't get the time, and I'm still moving slowly in, you know, getting to the bottom of it. So I apologize for that, but it is so many other projects came up there, but I will follow up on all this. You know, I'm not naming any names here, and you know, and just how long we have been trying. But all I can assure you is that these are all on my radar. And I will definitely get to the bottom of it.
Mr. Sneed, this is Jason Gillespie. I can add a little bit to State Highway. There's no amount that's disputed right now with State Highway. It's just working through their invoicing process, and things are a little bit slower now with COVID and remote teleworking. But we do have quarterly meetings scheduled with State Highway, Dr. Glass and myself. So I think our next quarterly meeting is scheduled for January, just after the holidays. So we'll be able to follow up and get an overall status on this and bring this to, you know, the highest attention within SHA if there's an issue here going forward.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gillespie, on that. The other thing I looked up was Wise Recycling. They are still in good standing, so I'm assuming they're a functioning business unit.
There's two entities, I believe, and that's one of the issues that we're going to be dealing with in our motion. As Hammond indicated, we have filed a motion for summary judgment in that matter, and it's scheduled for hearing on February 4th in Anne Arundel County Circuit Court.
Have they filed a response?
No.
Okay. Are they past the time period to respond?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
Sure.
Any other questions for Mr. Patel? Thank you, Mr. Patel. Now to the Human Resources Report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Right now, good morning. We currently have 854 positions, and our vacancy rate will be 2.57% when all of our vacancies are filled. Of course, we continue to hire, as I've said, since COVID, and we have hired a total of 74 people since the pandemic. Any questions on this slide?
Nope. Hearing none. Next slide.
And we have a wonderful, oh, look, it's festive, a wonderful resolution. Resolution 20-12-1R, and that authorizes our director to close our offices on Thursday, December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. That follows the state also designating that as a state holiday. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
This is JP, I'll second it.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, Morgan Hall.
Motion passes.
Dr. Glass, I just have one question for JP. Is that a real cow behind him?
It's not a real cow, but you know, I don't have the fanciest of offices, so it always creates a little bit of conversation. So
Well, it's working, JP.
I'm a big fan.
Next slide. Before we go to group updates, I'd also like to mention that in the announcement yesterday, the governor moved forward with a cost of living adjustment for all state employees of 2%. So we'll be moving forward. I believe that I discussed it with Mr. Coleman, and it's not necessary, but I want to make the board aware that because of the state adjustment of 2%, and I have conferred with the Department of Budget and Management that there are no issues with our state reimbursable accounts to also award an adjustment of 2%. And unless there is an issue with that, we'll be moving forward with a COLA for the agency in January. Are there any questions? I believe I discussed with Mr. Coleman that can be a management action. If he can confirm, that'd be great.
That is correct.
Okay, so, but I wanted to make all the board aware that the governor did make that announcement, and we'll be following through with it for all MES employees.
We definitely support management on that decision, Dr. Glass.
Thank you, Mr. Snee.
I have one quick question. As we all know, things are rapidly moving with vaccine. And the question is, are our personnel going to be in the essential class when the time comes by? Because after all, they do have to, have they do have a very important role in how things work from day to day. So I don't know if we can get our foot in that door or wait for somebody to slam the door on us. I'm not sure.
Ms. White is our COVID-19 coordinator with the state. I don't know if she's been informed. Just as a question, I have not been informed. When they mention essential services and first responders, I don't believe they're talking about environmental operations. But Ms. White, have you heard anything to that effect?
I have not, but as you know, we did have to, when the pandemic first started, put a spreadsheet together for the governor on who is mission critical and essential. Mm-hmm. So I don't know as soon as I heard, but I have not heard anything since the vaccine has rolled out.
That could get us in what I think is going to be the 1B category, because the 1A is the one only people who are involved in medicine.
Sure.
And perhaps firefighters, police, or whatever.
Police.
Then I think we've got number 1B, which is other essential people. So
we'll answer that question as soon as we possibly can, Mr. Judge Mulkin. We'll look into that.
Otherwise, they might overlook us, and we don't want that to happen.
Agreed. All right. Managing Directors Group Updates. Who's first?
That would be me.
Santa.
Yes. So today's update is on the Mid-Chesapeake Bay Ecosystem Restoration Project. We like to call it Mid-Bay Island Project. And this is actually 2 islands in the Chesapeake Bay in the vicinity of the Little Choptank River area in Dorchester County. And this would be creation of remote island habitat using dredge material. One of the islands is Barren Island, and that would be a relatively small project of 75 acres and 100% wetland creation. And the other is James Island, more on the scale of Poplar, and that's I think it's 2,072 acres, and that would be a split of upland and wetland creation at that site, or restoration at that site. And the combined projects would provide for 90 to 95 million cubic yards of material placement for the outer channel materials leading to the outer channels leading to the Port of Baltimore. So the project right now is in the pre-engineering and design phase. We have a contract with the port for $6.1 million, and MES and contractors working for us are performing services as part of the in-kind services for the port for their cost share agreement. And so work that's being done includes field work such as aerial and hydrographic surveys, geotechnical sampling, biological surveys. Design is underway for Barren and James, and National Environmental Policy Act coordination and regulatory permitting is occurring, as well as outreach. There'll be a virtual public meeting in next year on the project. So it's a very important project for the port, and MES is very pleased to be part of this. Again, it will be ultimately a replacement project for Poplar Island, and Poplar itself will reach capacity around 2031. Any questions?
Yeah, how far is Barren Island from Poplar? Is it south? Is it south or?
Oh, yes. It's south. It's, wow. I feel like it's, I actually took a boat ride down there from Poplar, but that was like 15 years ago, so I'm not exactly remembering. But it's probably another hour south.
So as we continue to dredge and Poplar's useful life expires in 2031, plus or minus, Ms. Banta, our costs will go up probably geometrically just for transportation down the bay, correct?
Yes.
What's that going to look like in terms of how we budget for these things and how the state pays for it?
Well, obviously, that'll be a port requirement that they're going to have to plan for in their CTP budgeting. And they are, they have, they have already planned out the cost for the project. So.
Okay.
Ms. Banta, do you know how many acres of wetland the 2 projects would grow?
Well, I'm sorry,
question.
Barren is 75 acres. That's 100% wetland.
Mm-hmm.
And 45% of 2,072 acres for James.
So I asked that in relationship to blue carbon and your group in living shorelines and wetland creation, will be a linchpin. But of course, It would be a calculation that we would give those carbon credits. We wouldn't give. I'm sure that the port would retain the credits for those projects. But just as a response with some of the other actions that we're facing, inquiries that we're facing, it'd be great to have a calculation of that, and I'll work to figure that out, even though it's a decade away. same thing with Poplar Island. We could be calculating the credits for some of Poplar Island's area. I'm sorry to digress. Board members are.
Yeah, Dr. Glass, that's a good point, because in the development world, a decade goes by in in 5 minutes. So it's time to be looking at that. So I concur.
2030 is right around the corner, I guess. Any other questions for Ms. Banta? Thank you, Ms. Banta. Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Looking back at some of the group updates that I've provided over the last few months, I realized I hadn't really focused on water and wastewater, so that'll be our focus for this month's group update. Elkneck State Park, you actually voted as a board last month to award this contract to GMB for the design and construction phase services. Since your vote last month, we've also gotten this approved by the Board of Public Works back beginning of December, and we've gone ahead and awarded this contract to GMB. So they have started their work. This is actually the same firm that did the preliminary engineering report for us and submitted that to MDE for review of alternatives. Our construction is expected. It's right now scheduled for FY22, but we've had discussions with DBM as recent as yesterday in the effort of moving this project to potentially FY23 and moving some funding around to other projects in the FY22. So construction is more than likely going to happen in 23 at this point. One of the great things about this project is when we submit the PER, we also have the project evaluated for potential funding from MDE for the construction phase. We did receive a preliminary notice from MDE that the project is eligible for 77% of the construction cost in funding from MDE. That's a very high award for construction cost funding. The final number will be developed at the 90% design, but we're talking about the estimated construction cost is approximately $4.9 million, and 77% of that will be funded through grant funds. So that comes at a great cost savings to the state. One of the main reasons that the project is eligible for funding is we are upgrading this plant to enhanced nutrient removal, which means that we'll be significantly reducing the nitrogen and phosphorus that would come through typical wastewater operations that are being discharged into the Elk River, which is a shellfish harvesting area there now. So great work for the environment here, and great work on the part of the team to secure some grant funding for this project as well.
Mr. Gillespie, do you know what the capacity is of this?
Of this
plant?
This plant? Actually, I'll have to get back to you on the capacity. I don't recall right off the top of my head. This is one of our state park facilities, and they honestly all start to run together after a while. But I'll try to get you an answer before the end of the board meeting here, actually.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What a beautiful sunset in that picture. Was that like on a website at DNR or something in parks?
It was part of their photo contest at DNR.
I mean, it makes me want to drive up to Cecil County.
I would have liked to have one with the treatment plant, in the sunset, but they don't often take pictures of treatment plants, unfortunately.
Yeah. The lighthouse is much more majestic. Any other questions for Mr. Gillespie? And we'll get back to you, Ms. Eller, on the capacity directly. Next slide, please. Mr. Tomaszewski.
Yes, sir. The project I picked for this month is one that's under development by Clean Bay Renewables. It's their site is down in the Westover area near our ECI cogen plant, and This facility is planned to operate on as anaerobic digestion-based technology, using only chicken manure as an input. They're talking about 500 tons per day of chicken litter coming into this facility, and generating a total of 100,000 tons a year of a product. It's a slow-release fertilizer product. Our involvement in this, to this point, we've had several discussions with them, but the first thing they would like us to do, or actually the phase of the work that they're interested in MES performing, is the marketing, actually the bagging. They want to bag all this material, so they want a bagging operation, and also the marketing piece, which, you know, similar to what we do in Montgomery County. So we have given them a budget, a proposal for doing a fertilizer market study, which we're in the process of getting all the contracts in place to proceed with that. They want to get that done soon. And then the potential is for us to construct and operate the bagging proposal, which we think would be about 6 positions for us and generate $126,000 in overhead. They're talking about a groundbreaking event for this facility in January of 21, next month. And the finance package for this is based on 30% equity investment and 70% tax-exempt municipal bonds, bond offering led by Goldman Sachs, and Medco is the bond holder. It's information I received from Bay Renewables. This project would also be tied in the future to the natural gas pipeline that Dr. Glass spoke about earlier. That goes going to ECI. It's located within a mile of ECI. And that's pretty much it. Any questions on that?
So, Mr. Tomczewski, chicken litter on the Eastern Shore has always been an issue. Does this put a dent in that environmental issue over on the shore?
I would say it definitely would put a dent if it came to fruition. I've been involved with with poultry litter since this Listeria issue first came up in the, I guess, early 90s. And the actual volume of chicken litter has always been a question mark. So that's one thing floating around. But this is a sizable chunk. 500 tons a day is a big input stream to this facility. So yeah, it would put a dent in it.
How many tractor trailers a day for 500 tons? It's 20 tons a trailer, right?
Yeah, 25.
20 to 25. Okay. Yeah.
25, yeah, so
25 trailers. Yep.
That's a lot.
Yep.
Where is that currently being disposed?
That is probably anywhere from, I'm sure some is going on the farm fields as a fertilizer, and some's being transported, I would guess. But that's their business model. I don't know. That's going to be a big challenge tying up all that litter. That's a big order. So you would, for them to get financing, that they would have, you know, that'd be the reason to give them financing, is to have all those contracts in place. So
ECI currently does the wood chips, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep. 50,000 tons a year, about 12 tractor trail loads a day.
All right, and with the pipeline, that'll be natural gas?
Yes, sir. No wood, natural gas.
Right. So how would the chicken litter, Mr. Tomczewski, how would that work with the gas pipeline? Are they in concert with one another? Do they support each other?
Yeah, the product one of the products that this operation would do with the anaerobic digestion is it would generate renewable natural gas, which would be, I think they're talking about either directly injecting it back in the natural gas pipeline, or even potentially sending gas, pressurized natural gas back up to a site somewhere in Delaware. So yeah, it's going to require gas to get started for startup fuel, natural gas, so there'll be a gas customer and potentially a gas supplier as well to the pipeline. So they have an interest in that, and they've actually gone on record supporting the gas pipeline project for ECI because of that.
Well, I'll tell you, this is exciting. I hope they break ground next month. And Dr. Glass, when we get back to some sense of normalcy, it'd be nice to take a field trip and take a look at this outside.
And yeah, I agree completely. And Mr. Tomaszewski, did they? I believe they did receive funding from the Animal Waste Treatment Technologies Fund.
I believe they're working on that. Yes, I'm sure they have. Yep.
Yeah, I believe they're listed with the Maryland Department of Agriculture as receiving some funds. And Mr. Tomaszewski and I have entertained waste to energy companies, 3 of them this last month, or the last 3 weeks, or 2. I can't remember.
They all kind of blend together. Right?
Blend together, and a lot of them are pitching syngas development from poultry litter. The closing of the Animal Waste Technology Fund RFP is December 31st, and Mr. Tomaszewski and his group are submitting another proposal for composting in Harford County, Mr. Snee, no less, and they have much more interest because they've expanded to other forms of animal waste, not just manure. So in discussions with MDA, I'm waiting till it was close for us. It was too short for us to try to figure out biochar development and write a proposal this month. But there are technologies and organizations that are getting off the ground with the Department of Agriculture that hopefully MES can provide support to in the coming year. So I plan to reconvene with them in February after MDA sorts through. They can't share, especially since we're applying. That's one reason why we can't sit on the review, is because we apply for projects. But it's very exciting on the shore right now, Ms. Heller, and a lot of folks coming together to try to provide some solutions. But there is, and also Mr. Gillespie participated in the phosphorus management tool, and I believe that this next summer, the phosphorus management tool will have to go into effect for the lower shore. Is that correct, Mr. Gillespie?
That's correct. Yes, sir. The committee did vote to move forward with the regulations.
So there might be more accounting of poultry litter and other manures in their application in the southern shore in the near future, and we'll see if we hope that MES can participate in providing solutions all throughout the eastern shore. So since we have our presence in the midshore already. Any other questions for Mr. Tomaszewski? Exciting times, always exciting times. And all these projects also have climate change and resiliency aspects as well, just to keep pointing out and beating a dead horse. But next slide, Ms. Crosby.
I do have a quick update for Elkneck. I did get the answer from Mrs. Heller. So our design capacity at Elkneck is 60,000 gallons per day. We are not increasing that capacity as part of the ENR upgrade. So we're fine with the current capacity at the plant.
Thank you. That's a significant facility for what I think of as, the needs for a state park. That's impressive.
Okay, Mrs. Crosby.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
Okay, item 1 is a change order for the Conowingo Sediment Characterization and Innovative Reuse and Beneficial Use Pilot Project for additional modeling service. The contractor is Northgate Dutra Joint Venture. The original term of the contract is 365 days. The modified term is 815 days. The original amount of the contract was $2,988,594. There were 5 previous change orders to the contract. The change order 6 that's before you today is in the amount of $262,000 with a 25% contingency. The MBE goal on the contract is 10%, and the contractor is currently achieving 5.7%.
Are there any questions on this change order?
Well, I probably should ask this 5 change orders ago, but who makes up the joint venture, just to make sure we don't have conflicts?
Miss Banta.
That is Northgate Environmental Management and Dutra. North Environmental Management is the obviously doing the environmental part, and Dutra is the dredging contractor.
Okay. I guess in the future, just to be clear that we don't have a conflict issue, since it's a JV, we should really indicate who that is to make sure we don't have a problem. So,
Okay.
With that, though, I'll move item 1, Dr. Glass.
Is there a second?
Morgan Hall, second.
Are there any questions?
I have one question real quick. Tammy, how come we're dredging so far from the dam?
That was it's close to the state line, about 5 miles up from the dam itself, and it was an area selected by Maryland Department of the Environment and Maryland Geological Survey as a site that they felt would be appropriate for the dredging project.
Is that kind of so we can see what's coming directly from Pennsylvania?
I don't believe so. I think they just felt that they had done some core samples and they felt that area would be representative. So I believe that's why they selected that area.
They felt like that's representative of what's behind the dam, directly behind the dam.
Well, the area, the entire area has filled in. Probably more so down by the dam itself. But yeah, I believe they feel that this would be appropriate test for innovative reuse of the material, that location.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Fanta, before the final vote, just would you give a 30-second snippet on the current state of the sediment characterization and what's been achieved? I mean, since it wasn't one of your project updates, it's great to at least acknowledge the achievement so far in the sediment characterization project.
Right. So, it's been a long time coming, but we've finally got an opportunity to get in the field and actually complete the sediment sampling. And the contractor is basically demobilizing, I believe it's today, from performing the core samples throughout that reach of the river system. So that's a significant accomplishment. There is intent to go back out and do some additional sampling in the dredging area itself. So that has yet to take place. But yeah, a big accomplishment with the time spent on this project and the effort and achieving access through the right of entry agreement with Exelon.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Mrs. Crosby, next item, please.
Okay. Item 2 is an equipment purchase for the Midshore Regional Solid Waste Facility. This is an intergovernmental cooperative purchase from Sourcewell. The contractor is Burgess Truck Center. The amount of the purchase is $256,062, and with a delivery term of 6 to 9 months.
This is JT. I'll move this item.
Is there a second?
Second.
Acknowledging that Ms. Heller has abstained, but please, I'll ask for abstentions later too. I just want to remind, not that you would forget. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
That would be me.
Thank you, Ms. Heller.
Is that 6 to 9 month a supply chain problem, Dr. Glass?
I do not know. I'll have to ask Mr. Tomczewski to.
Well, it's all part of the COVID issue that we're having, extended lead times on major equipment. So that's probably part of that. I would guess normally that's probably 4 to 5 months, perhaps, or something like that, 3 to 4 months. So it's slowing things down, but
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Next item.
Okay, the next item is item 3, the Montgomery County Material Recycling Facility. This is a client-directed sole source. The contractor is Penn Waste, Inc. There have been 4 change orders previously. This is a renewal option for option year 1 in the amount of $797,522, bringing the revised total contract amount to $3,328,213. There's no MBE participation on this contract. What else? And this is transportation and processing of bypass recyclable materials from Montgomery County.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Morgan.
Second? Is there a second? Thank you, Morgan Hall. Mr. Hall. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Next item.
The next item is item 4, and this is for a contract to supply the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration Enterprise Information Service Division with professional support services to more effectively track and capture road data for the variety of purchases, one of which being the seemingly increasing impacts of flooding and Maryland roadways. This is a GIS shortlist contract. The awarded contractors, Whitney Bailey Cox Magnum LLC. The estimated amount is $494,286.72. The term of the contract is through December 31st, 2021, and the MBE goal is 33%.
Mrs. Fuller, will you go back one slide, please? Thank you. Are there any questions for this item?
I'm confused which one we're voting on.
Should be item 4, not item 5. I'm sorry.
Item number 4, the Energy Transfer Report.
I'll move this item, JP.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Last item.
Last item is item 5, and this is the to supply the Maryland Department of Transportation and State Highway Administration with the Enterprise Service Division with professional support service. This is a GIS shortlist contractor. The awarded contractor is Whitney Bailey Cox and Magnum LLC. The estimated amount is $494,286.72. The term of the contract is through December 31st, 2021, and this is one with the MBE goal of 33%.
Dr. Glass, I'll move item 5.
Is there a second?
This is Shelley. I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Abstentions? Thank you, Mrs. Crosby. Notifications?
You're welcome.
Are there any questions on these procurement notifications under the $250,000 limit? Hearing none. Thank you. Mr. Coleman with the legal report.
I've already mentioned the matter involving Wise Recycling. We do have a motion for summary judgment pending with the court that'll be heard in February. In the Harnden litigation matter, this is the lawsuit arising out of the closure of the Midshore 1 landfill. That dispute has gone on for several years, but it continues. And since our last meeting, the contractor plaintiff has filed an amended complaint. The court has allowed them to file an amended complaint, so we have responded to that. We have a trial date in that case set for April, but we're anticipating that that trial date will get pushed back. It's pending in Anne Arundel County Circuit Court. That's all I've got at the moment.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Coleman? All right. Old business, new business. I don't have any issues. Are there any issues that anyone would like to bring up in old or new business?
I just want to wish everybody happy holidays, stay healthy, and stay safe.
Here, here.
I second that.
All in favor?
Same to you.
All in favor? Aye. Yes, I agree.
Unequivocally.
Please, everyone, be safe and enjoy your families and friends that you can through Zoom and Meet and etc. We have a longer time in between the board meetings because of the November and December earlier meetings. So the next meeting will be Thursday, January 28th. I will be in touch with all the board members in the interim as the legislative session will start on January 13th. And I just wish everyone a safe and happy holidays, and let's get through the next 6 months when it's estimated that the vaccine will be distributed enough for us all to return to more normalcy. So with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh, I'll second it.
Thank you all. Oh, all in favor? Please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Everyone, please have a great holiday season. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.